Imagine a small boy standing on a street made of stone. He has no expensive boots. He has no beautiful football pitch. He does not even always have a real ball. Sometimes he kicks a bottle. Sometimes he kicks a ball made from old cloth. Around him, other boys laugh, shout, and run. The sun is hot. The island air smells of salt from the Atlantic Ocean. Then the game ends. His team loses. The boy lowers his head, and tears begin to fall. The other children laugh at him. They call him a crybaby. They think he is weak because he cries. But they do not understand what is happening inside him. He is not crying because football is only a game. He is crying because, for him, football is already something bigger than a game. It is hope. It is escape. It is the door to another life. This boy is Cristiano Ronaldo. Today, many people see the famous man. The goals, the trophies, the records, the cameras, the stadiums, and the millions of fans. But behind the famous man, there is still that boy from Madeira, the boy who hated losing, the boy who missed his family, the boy whose heart almost ended his dream, the boy who lost his father before the greatest victories arrived. This is the story of Cristiano Ronaldo, the boy who refused to give up. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born on February 5, 1985, in Funchal, on the Portuguese island of Madeira. Madeira is beautiful, but beauty does not always mean comfort. For the Ronaldo family, life was hard. His mother, Maria Dolores, worked as a cook and cleaner. His father, José Diniz Aveiro, worked as a municipal gardener and also helped a local football club by taking care of equipment and kits. The family did not have much money. Cristiano was the youngest of 4 children. The home was small. There was little space, little privacy, and little comfort. But inside that small home there was life, noise, struggle, and love. His mother worked to keep food on the table. His father was connected to football in a humble way, not as a star, but as a man who cleaned, carried, and served. For young Cristiano, football was everywhere. It was not an activity for the weekend. It was not something he did only after school. It was the center of his world. When he saw a ball, he wanted to touch it. When he touched it, he wanted to run. When he ran, he wanted to win. He played in the streets of Funchal, often barefoot. The ground was not soft. The streets were not designed for young athletes, but they became his first training ground. Every wall was a teammate. Every stone was an obstacle. Every older boy was a defender to beat. Without knowing it, Cristiano was building balance, courage, speed, and control. But he also built something else. An intense desire to be the best. When other boys played for fun, Cristiano played with fire in his chest. If someone did not pass him the ball, he cried. If his team lost, he cried. If he felt he had failed, he cried. People around him did not know what to do with those tears. They mocked him. They gave him names. But the tears were not empty. They came from pressure that he placed on himself even as a child. Sometimes, the thing people laugh at is not our weakness. Sometimes, it is the first sign of our greatness. At the local club Andorinha, where his father helped with equipment, Cristiano began to play organized football. Then he moved to Nacional, one of the better teams on the island. Coaches noticed him quickly. He was fast, brave, and unusual. He did not play like a child who was only happy to be there. He played like someone trying to escape time. When Cristiano was 12 years old, Sporting CP, one of Portugal's biggest clubs, wanted him. This was a huge opportunity, but it came with a painful price. He had to leave Madeira and move to Lisbon, far from his family, his island, his accent, and everything familiar. Try to imagine it. A 12-year-old boy flies across the ocean to a big city. He enters an academy full of strangers. The other boys speak differently. Some laugh at his Madeira accent. He feels alone. At night, the room is quiet, but his mind is loud. He misses his mother. He misses home. Many times he cries. He even thought about leaving. The dream was there, but the loneliness was also there. This is an important part of success that people often forget. Dreams do not always feel exciting. Sometimes dreams feel cold. Sometimes they feel like an empty bed in a strange city. But Cristiano stayed. On the pitch, he found his language. He might not speak like the boys from Lisbon, but with the ball, he spoke clearly. He ran at defenders. He moved with speed and confidence. He wanted the ball again and again. In training, he showed a hunger that coaches could not ignore. Then, at age 15, the story almost stopped. Cristiano began to feel his heart beating too fast. Not only after running, not only after hard training, his heart raced even when he was resting. For a young athlete, this was dangerous. Doctors discovered a condition often described as tachycardia, a problem where the heart beats too quickly. For a normal teenager, this would be frightening. For Cristiano, it threatened everything. Football was not just his hobby, it was his path, his identity, and his promise to himself. If his heart could not handle elite sport, the dream could end before the world even knew his name. His mother was terrified. Any parent would be. Her youngest son was far from home, and now doctors were talking about his heart. But there was a solution, a medical procedure to correct the problem. It was serious, but necessary. Cristiano went through the operation. And then came one of the clearest signs of his character. He did not disappear for months. He did not step away from the dream. After a short recovery, he returned to training. The boy with the racing heart came back to the pitch. From that point, his rise became faster. At Sporting CP, he moved through the age groups with unusual speed. Under 16, under 17, under 18, the B team, and then the first team. Coaches saw that his talent was not normal. He had skill, but many young players have skill. What made him different was the way he treated every session like a test of his future. In 2002, at only 17, he made his debut in Portugal's top league. Soon, the biggest clubs in Europe began to watch him. But the night that changed everything came in August 2003, when Sporting CP played Manchester United in a friendly match to open their new stadium. Manchester United arrived as a giant of European football. They had stars, experience, confidence, and one of the greatest managers in history, Sir Alex Ferguson. For Sporting, it was a celebration. For Cristiano, it became an audition in front of the world. When he received the ball, he attacked. He did not look afraid of the famous red shirts. He ran at defenders with quick feet, step-overs, sudden changes of direction, and fearless energy. John O'Shea, the Manchester United defender, had a terrible night. Again and again, Cristiano came toward him. Again and again, the crowd reacted. By the end of the match, the United players understood. This was not just a talented teenager. This was a player who could change games. They told Ferguson that Manchester United had to sign him. A few days later, Cristiano Ronaldo became a Manchester United player. He was only 18. Then came another heavy moment, the number 7 shirt. At Manchester United, number 7 was not just a number. It had belonged to legends like George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. Cristiano was young and unsure. He knew the pressure was enormous, but Ferguson believed in him. By giving him that shirt, Ferguson was not only giving him a number, he was giving him responsibility. The first years in England were difficult. The Premier League was physical, fast, and unforgiving. Defenders kicked him, fans criticized him, Some people said he did too many tricks. Some said he fell too easily. Some doubted whether he could become truly great. Cristiano answered in the only way he trusted: work. He trained before others arrived and stayed after others left. He practiced free kicks, crosses, step-overs, shooting, heading, and strength. His body changed. The thin boy became stronger. His game changed too. He was no longer only a winger who entertained the crowd. He began to become a goal scorer, a match winner, and a leader by example. But while his football was rising, his personal life was hit by pain. In 2005, his father died from liver failure after years of alcohol problems. Cristiano was only 20 years old. His father had seen him reach Manchester United, but he did not live to see the Champions League trophies, the Ballon d'Or awards, the Real Madrid records, or the full size of his son's greatness. That loss stayed with Cristiano. Years later, when speaking about his father, he could not hide the sadness. He had become one of the most famous athletes in the world, but fame could not bring his father back. This is one of the painful truths in his story. Success can give you many things, but it cannot return the people you lost. Sir Alex Ferguson became extremely important during this period. He was not only a manager. For Cristiano, he became a guide, a protector, and almost a second father. Ferguson knew when to push him and when to support him. Under that guidance, Ronaldo matured. By the 2007-08 season, the transformation was complete. Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer only a promise. He was one of the best footballers alive. That season, he scored 42 goals for Manchester United in all competitions. He helped the club win the Premier League and the Champions League. In the Champions League final in Moscow, Manchester United faced Chelsea. Rain fell. The night was tense. Ronaldo scored a powerful header, rising above the defense and sending the ball into the net. Later, he missed his penalty in the shootout, and for a moment it looked like tragedy might follow him again. But Manchester United survived. Chelsea missed. United won. Cristiano cried again, but now the tears were mixed with relief and joy. That year, he won his first Ballon d'Or. The poor boy from Madeira had become the best player in the world. But Cristiano's ambition did not stop. In 2009, Real Madrid paid a world record fee to sign him. When he was presented at the Santiago Bernabeu, a huge crowd came to see him before he had even played one match. The white shirt carried another kind of pressure. Real Madrid was not simply a club. It was a stage where legends were expected to perform every week. Cristiano did not hide from that pressure. He attacked it. At Real Madrid, he entered the most productive period of his career. He scored at a rate that seemed unreal. According to Real Madrid's own record, he scored 451 goals in 438 competitive appearances for the club. That means he scored more than one goal per game across nearly a decade. It is difficult to understand how hard that is. Every match came with pressure. Every opponent studied him. Every stadium expected something special. And still, the goals continued. During those years, his rivalry with Lionel Messi defined world football. Messi was often described as natural magic, a player who seemed to paint the game with soft touches and impossible movement. Ronaldo was seen as power, hunger, and perfection built through training. Their rivalry pushed both men higher. Fans argued, journalists compared, but football benefited from both. With Real Madrid, Ronaldo won 4 more Champions League titles. The most famous run came when Madrid won the competition 3 years in a row, from 2016 to 2018. In the modern Champions League era, that had not been done before. Cristiano scored decisive goals again and again. Headers, penalties, free kicks, tap-ins, and spectacular finishes. He seemed to live for the biggest nights. But for Portugal, there was still an empty space. Cristiano had carried the national team for many years. In 2004, as a teenager, he cried after Portugal lost the European Championship final at home to Greece. Those tears became one of the early images of his international career. He wanted to give his country a major trophy, but tournament after tournament ended in pain. Then came Euro 2016 in France. Portugal did not begin like champions. They drew all 3 group matches. Many people criticized them. Some said they were lucky to survive. But tournaments are not always won by the team that shines first. Sometimes they are won by the team that refuses to die. Portugal beat Croatia. They beat Poland on penalties. In the semi-final, they beat Wales, with Ronaldo scoring a powerful header. Finally, Portugal reached the final against France, the host nation. France had a strong team and a home crowd. Many expected France to win. The final took place on July 10, 2016, at the Stade de France. For Cristiano, it was supposed to be the biggest night of his international life. But after only a few minutes, he collided with Dimitri Payet. His knee was hurt. He tried to continue. He left the pitch, received treatment, came back, and tried again. But pain does not always obey desire. In the 25th minute, Cristiano could not continue. He sat on the grass. Tears filled his eyes. The captain of Portugal, the one player everyone expected to lead them, had to leave the European Championship final on a stretcher. It was one of the most emotional images in modern football. A small moth even landed on his face while he cried. A strange and unforgettable detail captured by cameras around the world. For a moment, it seemed like destiny was being cruel. 12 years earlier, he had cried after losing a Euro final. Now he was crying because he could not play in one. But the story did not end on the stretcher. Cristiano returned to the touchline. He could not run. He could not shoot. He could not score the winning goal. But he could still lead. Wearing a tracksuit, he stood near the technical area and shouted encouragement to his teammates. He limped, pointed, clapped, and urged them forward. Beside the coach, he became another voice of belief. At halftime and during the match, he encouraged the team. The message was simple: stay together, fight, believe. The match stayed 0-0 into extra time. France pushed. Portugal suffered. Then, in the 109th minute, Eder received the ball far from goal. He was not the famous hero people expected. He took the chance anyway. He moved forward and struck a low shot from distance. The ball flew past Hugo Lloris and into the net. Portugal led 1-0. When the final whistle blew, Portugal were champions of Europe for the first time. Cristiano, who had left the pitch in tears, celebrated with pure joy. The trophy was finally Portugal's. He had not finished the match as a player, but he had helped finish it as a leader. That night changed the meaning of his tears. In 2004, tears meant defeat. In 2016, tears became part of victory. After Real Madrid, Cristiano continued his journey. He moved to Juventus in Italy and won league titles there. He returned to Manchester United, where the story was emotional but more complicated. Later, he moved to Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. Some people thought that move meant the end of serious history, but even there, he kept scoring. His influence helped bring new attention to football in Saudi Arabia. In September 2024, he reached another historic milestone: 900 career goals for club and country. He became the first male player to reach that number. Think about that for a moment. 900 official goals. Not 9, not 90, 900. Behind each goal were thousands of training sessions, recovery days, strict meals, lonely hotel rooms, pressure, criticism, and sacrifice. Cristiano Ronaldo's story is often told through numbers, but numbers cannot tell everything. They cannot fully show the boy alone in Lisbon. They cannot show a mother's fear before heart surgery. They cannot show the silence after losing a father. They cannot show the pain of being mocked for an accent. They cannot show the feeling of leaving a final on a stretcher while your country still needs you. The numbers are part of the story, but the human struggle is the heart of it. What makes Ronaldo important is not only that he scored goals. Many players score goals. What makes him different is the length of his hunger. Year after year, he searched for improvement. When he became fast, he became stronger. When he became strong, he became more efficient. When he lost speed with age, he changed his movements, protected his energy, and waited for the right moment. He also became a symbol of self-belief. To some people, his confidence seemed too much, but confidence was the armor he wore against pressure. From the streets of Madeira to the biggest stadiums in the world, he carried one message inside him: I can become better. This does not mean he was perfect. No legend is perfect. Ronaldo faced criticism, difficult moments, and controversial chapters. But an honest story does not need a perfect hero. An honest story needs a human being who keeps moving through difficulty. For English learners, his story also gives us useful language and useful lessons. Words like discipline, resilience, sacrifice, ambition, and legacy are not just vocabulary. They are ideas we can understand through real life. Discipline is not a word in a book. It is Ronaldo staying after training to practice again. Resilience is not only a definition, it is a teenager returning after heart surgery. Sacrifice is not abstract. It is a 12-year-old leaving his island to chase a dream. At the age of 41, Ronaldo enters his final World Cup, hoping to win the only trophy missing from his career. So what can we learn from Cristiano Ronaldo? First, your beginning does not decide your ending. He began in poverty on a small island far from the richest football centers in Europe. But he did not allow that beginning to become a prison. Second, emotion is not weakness. The boy who cried became one of the strongest competitors in sport. His tears showed that he cared deeply. The challenge was not to stop caring. The challenge was to use that feeling in the right direction. Third, talent needs discipline. Cristiano had natural ability, but ability alone would not have created 900 goals, Champions League titles, Ballon d'Or awards, and international records. The daily work built the legend. Fourth, leadership changes with time. At first, Ronaldo led by dribbling, scoring, and carrying teams with his body. Later, he also led with words, presence, and belief, like in the Euro 2016 final. Finally, legacy is not only what you win. Legacy is what people feel when they remember your journey. When young players see Ronaldo, they see proof that effort matters. When people from small places see him, they see that a dream can travel far beyond its birthplace. The boy from Madeira became a global icon. The child with no boots became a man with records that may stand for generations. The teenager with a heart problem became one of the most physically prepared athletes football has ever seen. The young player mocked for his accent became one of the most recognized voices in sport. The captain, who left a final injured, still lifted the trophy. And maybe this is why his story continues to move people. It is not only about winning. It is about refusing to disappear when life gives you reasons to stop. Now, think about your own life. Maybe there is something people do not understand about you. Maybe you care too much. Maybe you try too hard. Maybe you have failed before and felt embarrassed. Maybe someone laughed at your dream. Remember the small boy crying on the streets of Madeira. Those tears were not the end of his story. They were the beginning. Thank you for listening to this story. If you are learning English, listen again and pay attention to the vocabulary, the slow rhythm, and the emotional sentences. If you love football, tell us in the comments which moment in Cristiano Ronaldo's journey moved you the most. The childhood in Madeira, the heart surgery, the Manchester United breakthrough, the Real Madrid years, or the Euro 2016 final. And if you want more football stories that help you improve your English, subscribe to the channel and join us in the next episode. The story of Cristiano Ronaldo is not only the story of a footballer, it is the story of a boy who cried, worked, suffered, believed, and kept going until the world had no choice but to remember his name.